G'day viewers, LIRR Commuter and the updated M7. Let's learn how to get this thing moving. It's a little bit different to the way the M7 was before, predominantly in the requirements of the licensor. First change is you'll notice the door controls are down here now. They're no longer on this panel up here. Similarly on this side, no door controls on the panel. They are up here, sconced in up against the wall there. You'll also notice that there's no switches here behind the driver, which means you can't control any of that, which also means safety systems are on by default, just like the M9. There's that weird climby thing. Last time I was in New York, we couldn't go up there, unfortunately. So pop your master key on. So far it's pretty much similar. Bring your reverser to forwards, bring your master controller to max brake, and you'll notice that the brake pipe's already starting to charge. We shall change our marker lights to off, that's the red ones, and we will turn on our windscreen wipers. Windscreen wipers are here if you need them, but we will turn on our headlights to bright. You notice I'm getting a lot of rewards because this is a brand new build. It's really shiny. Alrighty, let's get moving. Now I'm just going to let this thing drift, essentially, because I want to show you the alerter. So we'll just get it moving just a tad. Alright, now I'm just going to let it coast. Just let it roll along. And we'll wait for the alerter to go off. When it does, you get 7 or 8 seconds to acknowledge it, and you'll be fine. If you don't acknowledge it, it will stop the train. And the reason I'm doing this so slowly is I want to stay out here in the light before we go into the dark. Okay, so first time I'll just acknowledge it and it just goes away. So I acknowledge that with the Q key. You can use the stick, of course, or use the B or circle on your controller, or the alert button on your rail driver. Any of those is fine. This time I'm going to let it stop the train. Not that the train's moving very much anyway. It'll come along any second now. There we go. And I'll let it put the brakes on this time, so I'm not going to do anything. There we go. We have got an emergency brake. So put your brakes to max brake. Acknowledge the alerter. You notice the brake pipe's not charging. Back to coast and then back to max brake. And this time the brake pipe will charge up. It's a little bit of a palaver, but that's just what you have to do. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is show you how to avoid going over speed. Well, that's easy, just don't do it. We can go into cruise. So if you do happen to inadvertently go over the speed limit, which we're going to deliberately, all you have to do is get it braking hard enough and then acknowledge, and you've got the brake assurance rate light has come on. Once you're below the limit, you can stop braking. You will find you over brake when you do that, because you have to brake quite hard to actually get it down below the speed limit in the time that you've got. If you don't do that, so we're about to go into the downhill section. So I'm just going to let it drift, and I'm going to let it speed up and go over speed. Because it will. And I'll let it stop the train. Actually, I may as well force it, I think. And we'll let it stop the train just so I can show you how to get out of it. We're over speed. And we are stopping. Penalty brake. There we go. Okay, all you have to do is get your controller to max brake and acknowledge. And this one's a bit different to the M9, because the M9, that's all you have to do. Back to max brake again, and it'll start charging up. And then you can drive. Ooh, not that we use the horn in the underground. No, that would deafen people. Now, it's advisable to learn the route and learn the speeds that you're allowed to do in the various areas so that you know when what are called code drops happen. That's the going too fast, being naughty, not paying attention, talking about not speeding and then speeding. Very clever. But anyway, learn what are called code drops, and that's where you will always have to slow down. So places like here at New York Penn, coming into Jamaica is another one. You will find this train's very handsy, and if you're using the rail driver, that's quite okay, and controller, it's quite good. On keyboard, you might find yourself button pressing a little bit to maintain the correct speed. It can be rather hard to tell which signals are for you, so when you're first starting out, it's a good idea to make sure you've got the signals turned on for the HUD to help you interpret them. So I'm using the minimal HUD and the track monitor. The track monitor, if you had the signal aspects turned on, which I don't currently, would help you to understand what the signaling means. Now, some of them are a stop and proceed, which means you stop for it and then you drive through it if it's red, and some of them aren't. So if you're not sure, stop and wait. Wait for it to change. If you're sure, go through it, because they don't spad, but you do have to stop first. Alright, we're going to come up to a stop in this platform. I'm not sure if I actually need to open the doors for this service, but I'm going to, just to show you how. Stop on the marker here, that'll do. Now you need to put it in max brake so the alerter doesn't go off. And we're going to wait, but I'm going to open the doors anyway. So you can open the doors using your panel over here, or you can use your usual keys on the keyboard, Y and U for left and right, or the D-pad buttons on your console controller or your rail driver controller, whichever is appropriate for you. Now I'm just going to close those up again. I'm just going to use the keyboard this time. And we're not going to sit here and wait till 9:43 for this tutorial. So that's all good. Let me show you the shutdown procedure now for this one. So put it into emergency brake. Put the reverser to key out if it's going to let me. There we go. I just didn't quite have the handle in the right position then. It's a little bit finicky. Headlights back to off. Marker lights on, that's the red ones, and then key out. If it'll let me. It's always been a little bit finicky, the M7. You've got to get things just right. It's kind of annoying, but there you go. In fact, it's not actually going to let me this time. There we go. Just fiddle the controls, you'll get there. It's a little bit finicky, it always has been in the M7, but you do get there eventually. We just fiddle the controls around a bit and you'll be fine. You can leave the train. And that's how you do it for stabling. Alright then, that's just been a quick tutorial for this one. I will do a full run in the M7 so we can talk through the ATC and ACSES and what I'm doing to try and accommodate it. Alrighty, see you later. Look out for the other tutorial. Any questions or comments, drop them down below and I will help you out. Or try to anyway. Okay folks, thanks for watching. See ya.
We played a game.